Hello, welcome everyone. Today we are going to do the knockers with the magic loop method, which uses a circular needle. I'm using a 3.75 circular needle. Circular needle is one that has 2 points joined with a wire at the bottom. We are going to be using the DPN bottoms up knocker pattern. Same pattern, but instead of four needles, we are going to use the circular 2 needles. We need scissors, we need a marker, one marker, and this for sewing at a later stage. And then we would need yarn, which cotton mercerized yarn. I'm using a 4-ply cotton mercerized yarn. I have the pattern with me. It's easy for reference to have the pattern every now and then. So now let us start with casting on. I'm doing a long tail cast on, which is I just put a loop first and then I'm casting on 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm doing 15 stitches. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Just check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Now what we have to do is we have to keep 10 stitches on the back and 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. We will move to the other needle. How do we move? Just watch. I put it on this side and then I'm going to just pull this. Can you see it now? Yeah. Put these 10 on this and put this 5. Just wiggle it a little too, it'll come forward. Yeah, right? 10 on the back needle and 5 on the front needle. I forgot to tell you, need to place a marker between, I'll do it while I'm knitting, 3, 4 and 1, 5. 5th and 6th of the back loop, we need to put a marker. Okay, now you just, in this method of knitting, you have to be careful that you, the working thread, which is this one, has to be at the back, always at the back. If you leave that, then it will be easy to knit. This method, how do we knit? What we have to do is, this is at the back, so this needle is what we will use for knitting. So what we have to do is pull all of this, make it end. Now comfortable to knit. Now we will knit these 5 stitches. We pulled it round like this. These 5 that are on the second needle is what we will knit first. I'm just going to do 1 row of knitting initially, although the pattern doesn't say that. I'm just going to do 1 row of knitting so it's easier to continue. Close this hold this close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What you do is drop this needle, turn this like this. So this is a working thread again on top at the back, right? And then pull this. Put these thread, these stitches onto this, wiggle it a little bit. So these are the 10 that is here now, right? And as I said, we need to use this needle, always the one that has a working thread outside, for knitting. So now what we do is we just pull this again to use for knitting, turn this over, you have a thread again with you, then knit these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I said, you need to place a marker. So after the 5th one, this is a marker, I'll just drop the marker here and continue working. You don't have a marker like this, you can use a safety pin, you can use a clip, anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? You drop this thread, turn this over, wiggle these stitches onto this, this is again the working thread, right? So we've got this now. Now let us start the pattern. The pattern is round 1 is knit to the last stitch, knit to the front and back, repeat for needles 2 and 3 is a DPN pattern. So what we would do is knit to the last stitch, knit to the front and back of the 5th stitch, then we'll repeat it for the same thing. That is the first row. So now we have to do is, this is a working needle, so we have to pull it out like this, right? Turn. This is our working thread. Knit to the last stitch, then knit the front and back. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last stitch is front and back of the stitch. So I am now knitting the front of the stitch. I am going to the back of the stitch. Finish the 5th stitch. So this has got 6 now. Drop this needle, turn this over, pull this to this side, put these stitches onto the needle. Now we have to follow the same thing. Now before I continue with the first row of the pattern, the cast on thread that was left, you need to wind it up like this. So that gives you a distinction between what is a working thread and the cast on thread. Now I have to pull out this wire, put it through this, and I have to knit this. This is what I have to do, the first row. The first row is knit to the last stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and knit the front and back of the last. This is the front and back. So this makes it 6. Drop the needle, turn it over, pull this through, wiggle the stitches onto this, because that's what needs to be knitted now. This is the working thread is on that. So pull this out. Now knit. This is the, again, knit to the marker, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now just before the marker is the 5th stitch, so knit into the front and the back of the stitch. Now the slip on the marker, after you slipped on the marker, we need to follow the same, knit to the last stitch and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then knit to the front of the stitch, knit to the front of the stitch and knit to the back of the stitch. Now we finished one row of the pattern. Now we need to go to the second row, and the second row is knit to the front and back and then knit to the last stitch, knit to the front and back. So the first and the last stitch would be knitted front and back, there'd be an increase, and then in the other stitches there'd just be a knit. Now this is the working needle thread which is there, and this is the working needle. So we pull this needle, turn the thing over and start. Now I have to do knit to the front and back of the stitch in this row, right? So I'll do knit to the front and back. Then knit to the last stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the last stitch. So again I would knit in the front and at the back. Drop the needle, turn your work, pull this thread, pull this string through so that the stitches come onto the needle. Put them in onto the needle like this. We are doing the second row for this. We did it for the first 5 stitches. So now again pull, turn. Now we do for this. Knit to the front and knit to the back of the first stitch, right? Knit to the stitch just before the marker, that is be the last stitch of this row, of this 2. So every row, in these rows we are increasing 2 stitches, that is total of 6, and in the first row we increase 3. Now this is a marker, stitch before the marker, so 1 here, front and the back. Now then you have to slip on the marker. This has got caught into this, right? Slip a marker. You do the same thing. Knit into the front and back of the stitch. Knit into the front and the back of the stitch. Knit to the last stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the last stitch. Again this would be the front and back. With this we come to the end of row 2. I've dropped the needle. I'll turn the needle over and I'll pull this. I'll show this to you one more time and then we will repeat this till we come to the size required for making our knockers of desired sizes of cups A, B, C. Now I'm going to do the first row will be repeated. We have done 2 rows of the pattern. The first row will be repeated. The first row is knit to the last stitch, knit in front of the last stitch. Same way for this and for that. So in the first row we increased 3 stitches, and the second row we did increase 6 stitches. So the repeat of the pattern is 3 stitches and 6 stitches. That's how we increase. Now this is again the working thread. So that is a needle we have to pull out for the working. Turn the needle over here. So here it is, knit to the last stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, last stitch. No, knit to the last stitch would be front and back. Right? Drop this, turn, pull this over, squeeze the stitches in. This is the working thread. So this will be the needle we need to pull out. Every now and then just twist these wires. See that they don't get too twisted. So you just have to twist your needle. Your needle will untwist the wires. Right? Turn the pattern over. Now knit to the 1 stitch before the marker. 1. We are doing the first row. Repeat. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you can see this is, we have increased 3 last 2 rows, no? That's why. Into the front and the back of the needle, of the stitch, sorry. We've increased 1. Now we pass the marker over. Again knit to the last stitch. Then increase in the front and back. Is the last stitch to the front and to the back. We have increased 1 more stitch. Now we have repeated row 1, we have repeated again. So now we need to do the second row of the repeat. This is the working thread. So we'll pull this out. We'll turn this needle to help us navigate this. Now knit into the front and back of the first and the last stitches is our pattern 2 repeat, row number 2 repeat, right? So 1 front, that's the back. Then knit the last. I think I made a mistake. Yeah, you're right. So now I turn over. This is the working thread. That's the working needle. So now I have to pull this. Right, there's a working thread, so we have to pull this needle, turn this over. Yeah, now in this row what do we have to do? We have to work into the front and back of the first and the stitches, 1 stitch before the marker, and again repeat the same, front and last. Then repeat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Repeat to the front and the back of the stitch before the marker. Slip the marker on, front and back of the first stitch. Knit to the last stitch. Knit in front and back of the last stitch. Drop the string. Turn. This is the working thread is there. Turned. Got it? See now. Can you see? It's just like we were working with the double pointed needles. You can see the divisions that are coming in. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? Now we'll continue this repetition of first row and the second row. That is, now I'll have to knit to the last stitch, knit front and back. Same thing over here. That completes one row. Then I'll have to do knit to the front and back of the first stitch, go on knitting, knit to the last front and back of the last stitch, continue. So continue doing this till such time as, suppose we want to do, we are going to do A cup. A cup is 4.5 inches across. And so we will do this until we can see that this portion, when we measure from here to here, after we do this, suppose you're finished round, then that to this will be 4.5 inches. That means you've come to the A number of stitches. That would be roughly about 22 stitches per needle. That would depend on each person's tension. So that you don't have to worry. Continue doing this, repeat of these two patterns. The increases, as I said, first row increase 1 at the end of the row or at the end of the before the marker. Knit into the front and back of the stitch, continue, and in the next row knit front and back in the first and in the last. So this way I have done, and I have got about 24 stitches. That is 24 into 3, 72 on my needle, and I think this would be equal to about 4.5 inches when I finish. I'll show you how it has to be measured also. After this, we are going to go into the front of the knocker, for which we need to do 2 rows of just purl all over without any increases or decreases. Now, I've already done 1 row, but I should show you how to do the second row. Now, this is it. Isn't this? This is the back of the needle. So now we've got to pull this needle and start working on this. We have to do just purls, okay? And then that'll give you a nice turn for the knocker. (17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I've got 23. 23 into 3 is 69. Okay. Okay, now drop the needle, turn, then you'll have to pull this so that this needle will come in, twist it in, now again the working thread is there, so that is the needle we have to pull out. So pull out that needle and continue working pearl. One row of pearl I had said. We have just finished 1/3 of the row. We've got another 2/3 to go. Once this is done, afterwards the front portion of the knocker is very easy. I just had to make some adjustments with the camera. Now coming to the middle of the where the marker is placed. Now slip the marker through. Continue purling. Little bit of adjustment. Because after this row we would start decreasing our this will give these two rows of pearl that we do will give a very nice turning base for the knocker. As I said, these are the two rows of pearls that we make. See the difference? I don't know if you can see it. It gives you you can see the two rows of pearl amongst the knit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to knit to the last two stitches, right? So this is it. Knit 1, knit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now I'm going to show you how we are decreasing. Right, so pull out this is the working thread needle, push it in, like this, right? Thread is over here, so knit to the, we have to knit to the last stitch, and that is when we knit two together. After this it's very simple, because this is same thing, knit to the last two stitches, knit two together. This is what we have to follow. So in each row that we finish, we would be reducing 3 stitches. To continue this till we have a total of 6 stitches, which is 2 on one and 4 in the other. Total of 6 stitches. Then I will show you how we would finish off. Now I come to the last 2 stitches. Now this is knit 2 together. Drop the needle, turn the needle. That is, the working thread is on that side. Now we'll have to pull this so that the needle comes in for the continuation of that row. Yeah. Come to the end of this. I'm just trying to untwist. There is a bit of a, yeah. Now pull this, keep this down, and start working. Yeah, you go to knit to the 2 stitches before the marker, because you haven't completed the first row. So we have to do knit 2 stitches before the marker, knit 2 together, and then continue till you come to the end of the row, when you will again knit 2 together. So this is how we will be proceeding till we have 6 stitches, to a total of 6 stitches on our circular needle. Now see, this is it. Still 3-4 stitches to go. Yeah, I've come to this. This is the last 2 stitches. I'll do that. Stitch 2 together. Turn on the marker to the other side. Then again start knitting. So what we will do is, now we will continue this, and we shall meet again after we have come to the very end, when I have only 6 stitches on my circular needle, and then I'll show you how we have to end it and how we would how we are going to, even the measurement I will show you how it is. Come to the last 2 stitches here. Now that's 2 together. Done. I've dropped the needle, I've turned it over, I'll pull this, and I'll be ready to continue. So now we'll see you after you come down to 6 stitches. Now this will be the final part of our video. I had told you to decrease stitches right up to 2 stitches. So I'm going to do the last row. I've got 3 stitches now with me, 3 on each of them, 3 here, 3 here, and 3 here. So let us finish this last row, and then I'll show you how the finishing is. Now again, that is the working thread. That working thread is on that side. So how do I do this? 2 stitches. Knit 1, knit 2 together on the last stitch. That was the pattern that we followed for decrease. drop this needle, go down, pull this through, put the stitches on the needle. Now pull this out and start working on these two. That is one stitch, knit two together, I can remove the stitch marker now because we are onto the last. Then again knit one, knit two together. So there are 4 stitches on this and we have 2 stitches here. So it's a total of 6 stitches. We can do now, what we can do is we can now pull them all together, put them all together, right? Yeah. See, there are a total of 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what you got to do is leave a length of thread and cut off. Then I had told you to get a needle, put this into the needle, right? Now if I remove these 6 stitches, yeah, this is the thread. Now I will thread through all these 6. You can see me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just pull the thread, pull it tight. See what happens when you pull it tight. Here, this is it. Now what we have to do is push the thread through to the right to the inside, pulling it out. When I pull it out from the back, see how the thing goes, there is no point goes right inside. Now we will have to just put a knot over here like this into any of the, we can take it into any of the stitches and just put a knot. I said come in, I'm sorry. Yeah. Put a knot, tighten it, and then just weave this thread through a few stitches so it doesn't unravel. This is going to go inside the knocker, and when we fill it up, it won't hurt anything. So just let it go through a few stitches like this, and then take it off and you're done. Just put that in. Now we have to do the closure. This is such a big hole. So how do we do the closure for this? For that, we need to open out this. You remember, this is the beginning casting on thread leftover we had done. Thread this through again the needle. And then here, through every alternate cast on stitch. You can see it. Every alternate cast on stitch we will take it through. See, we had cast on how many? 15. I take it every alternate or every other stitch or every stitch. It doesn't make a difference because you're going to finally pull the whole together, which will help us in keeping making the hole small or big. We keep it like this for filling, and once we fill it up, we pull this together, we cinch it together. When we cinch it, you get a smaller hole, and that will see to it that the fiber frill doesn't fall off. So here I have threaded through all, I'm threading it through every one of them. I've threaded through all. Now let's take it off. Now you just see, if I tighten it, it will become tighter. See, can you see the hole becoming smaller? Can you see it? It has become small. When you want to become large, we just have to open it like this, and it becomes larger. Now I take this opportunity to also show you how we are to measure. This is a ready knocker. I put all this aside. This is the ready finished knocker, right? Now you're supposed to keep it like this. See, this comes up till, mine has come up till 5 inches. So this would be a B cup, not a cup. This would be a B cup. Otherwise, another method of measuring which we are showing all of you is, this we do after we fill it up. Otherwise, I'm saying, let us see this. See what it shows. Let's measure it by the inch tape, right? And we will see that measure is from the top of that to the base. This is a cup. Sorry, this is an A cup because it is 4.5 inches. Can you see it? It's 4.5 inches. This is how you need to measure. So this is a cup. And for me, an A cup, I think I've had 23 stitches on each needle. So the total of 69. So my tension 69 is an A cup. So now we are done with our knocker. So this is the knocker which we have made using the magic loop method, but the pattern is of the bottoms up double pointed needles in using the magic loop or the circular needle. So thank you very much. I hope you found this easy, and you can make a choice as to those who are knitting it for the first time. This may be an easier one than 4 needles to knit with. So that is why I have made this video. This is fully based on the patterns by the knittedknockers.org. Thank you, one and all. Happy knocking.